For those of you, or one of you maybe, I'm starting early tonight. Thought I'd show you my t-shirt. Look at the top, it looks like a mess. Looks like a bad haircut. Anyway, nope, go on now. Whoever was there left. Nope, back again. My big preparations here. Isn't it exciting? Wow, 3 minutes, maybe. Well, less than 3 minutes. Hey, Mike, did you see my new YouTube video that I put up just an hour or two ago? No big thing. It's just I put a dash cam, but I put my camera on the dash of my car a couple years ago when I was in New York, and I was going over the Niagara River and the two Grand Island bridges that are over the river. It's got some ham radio stuff on it, just a silly little winter video. Got some more to put up too. They're just fun stuff, little stuff, nothing special. And there we go. There we go. Is the frequency in use. Is the frequency in use. Good evening. This is K4PEW with the Mount Juliet Simplex Radio Net. Is there any emergency or priority or otherwise traffic? Very well. Priority traffic or emergencies should be handled through 911 if you need some kind of emergency healthcare issues or otherwise. Otherwise, you can come through us for some kind of an immediate need, usually related to ham radio. Or you don't want to pass the traffic to someone else that you can't hear or they can't hear you. So you may break at any time for that. If information on this net, you can see us on our website right here on what here? Well, 146.415.net. That's 146.415.net. Or you can go to, we can look right here on YouTube on the channel, which is called Brain Trusts, BrainTrusts. Or you can go to Yahoo Groups, which is MJ_SS. Or you can email me at Kilo 4 Papa Echo Whiskey at ARRL.net. Let's see, the net normally meets, of course, at 8 p.m. every Saturday and Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock, of course. This week we conduct the net, as always, on 146.415 FM Simplex. Purpose of the net is to have fun and help train and ham radio operators on their radios, as well as help them improve their stations, because it gets frustrating listening to people that you can't hear. I know that makes sense to most of you. We invite everyone to use the net to announce amateur radio events and activities in support of the local community. Is there any announcements at this time? All righty. Didn't hear anything, but if you have something, let me know later. The big event is, a couple of big events. One is the net tomorrow night on the 147.105 machine, which has a 156.7 tone, and that has a plus offset. That's at 8 p.m. on Thursdays. Every Thursday they have a net. It's an Aries information net. Very informal. And then, of course, Saturday and Sunday are the winter field day for those who wish to participate. And hopefully when you check in tonight, you tell me if you're hoping to participate, even just for a little bit, to get on the air and listen for people and maybe help them get some contacts. Because winter field day is it's like a ham desert. Not dessert, ham desert. It's often not much activity, but if you get in there and help people out, they'll be happy.
KB4 SFM.
Hey, what's up there, Tom?
Yeah, you called for announcements, and I couldn't. I'm a little slow on the draw. Couldn't get the mic soon enough. I got something here.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, the e-testing will be the 27th, Sunday the 27th. It's coming up this next weekend, and it's at 1:30 in room 122 Lambrey Hall, Cumberland University. So if you want to upgrade, you been studying for test. That's 1:30. The 27th, Sunday the 27th, this next weekend. And that's at 1:30, room 122. And then on the 2nd of February at 8 o'clock, at 6 o'clock at p.m., they'll be the Wilson Amateur Radio Club will have their next meeting. Same location, KB4 SFN. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, except that one's at 6 p.m. Did you say that?
I did, but I may have didn't fumble tongue in here and didn't do it right.
But that is February 7th at 6 p.m., correct?
February the 2nd. February the 2nd, the first Saturday of the month.
Aren't you glad I clarified that? And the other one is Sunday the 27th at 1:30 p.m., correct?
Yo.
And they'll do all testing, tech, general, and the extra.
Yeah, and learner's permit also.
Well, that would take some real study. All right, very good. Tom Parker has some announcements, or at least two anyway. And there's VE testing on Sunday the 27th at 1:30 p.m. at Lambrey Hall. That's in room 122, and that's on the campus of Cumberland University. You can look that up on the web for a map if you need one, but it's room 122, 122, not Rambro Hall, but Lambrey Hall. And then that's Sunday the 27th again at 1:30. And then February 2nd at 6 p.m., there is a What are we doing on the? Oh, that's the meeting. That's the 6 o'clock meeting of the Wilson Amateur Radio Club in the same building, same room, 122 in Lamprey Hall at Cumberland University. Anybody need any fill on that information? Very good. Then thank you, Tom. Do you have any other announcements? All righty. Well, then we might as well get started if we don't have any announcements or clarifications, additions, or deletions. Standing by for 1 second. All righty. Well, then we shall start, I think, from the, let me see where we started last week. I want to say we started from the east, which we did. So we're going to start from the north. North of Mount Juliet Road, north of Mount Juliet, north of Lebanon Road. Please come in.
Whiskey 9, Bravo, Oscar, Quebec.
Hey, how you doing, new CW man?
Yeah, I made my first QSO today. I was doing about 4 words a minute, but we were communicating.
Straight key? Are you using the straight key?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at my S meter online. Straight up and down, what is that?
That's close to an S8 or so.
Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, I'm having a ball. I've got 3 radios set up in my shack now, and I feel so geeky. I love it.
Yeah, very good. Well, I'm glad you're getting into it. I think more people ought to. And of course, this, I believe that Tom is bringing, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but after the meeting on the 2nd, he's going to have a short class on CW. Correct, Tom?
QSL, yeah, yes, that's correct. I won't then get into it very deep, but we'll talk about it and go over some things in there. And if anybody wants to bring their own key, and if they got to come practice us later, bring that with you too. KB4SFM. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, there's following the meeting there at Lamprey Hall at the Cumberland University on Sunday, Saturday at 6 p.m. And that's Saturday, what did they just say? Oh, yeah, the 2nd. That's what it is. But they're going to be doing a little bit of introduction to CW. And if you have a code key or if you have a code oscillator, it'd be great. Bring your own. But you're welcome to be there, member or not. So I don't know, Dennis, something you might be interested in. I'd like to be there, but we'll see. See how my schedule goes with my nursing home here. All right, Dennis, you got anything? Are you going to do anything for the field day this Saturday and Sunday?
I might go out in my own field. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've done it. I'm sure you must have done field day before.
No, I've never done field day. I missed the summer one. I can't remember why. But yeah, I might. As it gets closer, we'll see.
Yeah, that's only, what's today? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's only Saturday. This coming this Saturday, Sunday.
And what are we doing after the net tonight? 10 meters or 70 centimeters?
You can do, this is a open mic night. You can do anything you want.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, everybody have fun, and good evening to everybody on the net. This is my first net since New Year's. Maybe Happy New Year to everybody. WNBOQ is clear. Back to net.
All right, very good, Dennis. Now you were on here within the last 2 nets. I know you were, but you were. It's been since you got back from the cruise.
All right. Well, Happy New Year anyhow. It can't hurt, right?
Yeah, you can't waste a happy anything to giving somebody else joy or wishing them joy. All right, very good, Dennis. Good to have you in there. That's Dennis, Whiskey 9 Bravo Oscar Quebec, and he's in Castellan Springs. Great signal with a S8 or so, or S9, somewhere in that vicinity. I can't wait till he gets his new antenna up. Who else we got north of Lebanon Road?
Kilo Echo 4 Romeo Victor Quebec.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good, sir. You hanging in there?
Yeah. It's aside from, I'm just hoping it doesn't freeze before all the water goes away.
Yeah, we had some good winds last night. It took the top of my hot tub right off, and it was laying on the ground this morning when I woke up.
The wind took it off?
Sure did.
Huh. Well, and that was the top of your hot tub. Those aren't light things.
No, had to be a pretty sturdy wind.
last time it did that, it actually snapped the straps right off from it. So this is the second time I've had that happen.
You're gonna have to be like you do when you bring in the dogs in bad weather. You're gonna have to bring in the hot tub.
I hear you. That'd be a feat.
Well, if you empty it, it'll be a lot lighter.
Still be a feat.
Yeah, I know it would be. I saw a house for sale on the web recently, and it had right next to the bedroom, and I mean right next to it with a nice, right, and then the next room was a windowed room with a big hot tub in it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't like the house, but I liked the bedroom with the hot tub right next to it.
Well, just find a house you want and put a hot tub room in it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, very good, Brent. You sound good tonight. Using the same rig and antenna.
Yeah, actually, I switched over to the TYT once I figured out how to program it. Yeah, we got that hooked up, and it seems to be working really good. I made the net last night for the Weema net, and just wanted to say to everybody, we do have that net at 8:30 every Tuesday night.
Now that's the 8:30 on Tuesdays. Okay, I don't know if I remember writing that down before, but I need to include that in my announcement. So that's Tuesday. Is that on the Weema repeater?
Yes, that will be on the East repeater and the West. They do a quick check on the West. I think I'm the only one checking in on that right now.
Give me that East one again. Do you have the information in front of you?
Hang loose a second. I'm going to switch over to it so I can remember it. Hold on just a second.
All right, standing by. I need to have some Jeopardy music here.
Get back to you. I'll just text it over to you when I can look it up.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate that. That's Brent. He's over in up in north of Lebanon Road, northwest Wilson County, and that's Kilo Echo 4 Romeo Victor Quebec. Good signal, Brent. And yeah, get back to me on that Weema net from the Wilson Emergency Management Agency. I'm sure there's some people here who would like to participate. Who else north of Mount Juliet, North Lebanon Road?
WE4E.
Hey, I ain't heard from you in a while, Danny. How you doing?
Not too bad, Paul. Yeah, I haven't been on. I was out of town for a couple weeks. Started a new job and had to go out of state for training. And I got back actually Friday night late, but had a awards dinner Saturday that precluded my participation. So glad to be back in here with everybody.
All right, very good. New job look good for you?
I think so. I think it's got possibilities. It's a home office based with travel, so that works out real nice. And it's more or less doing what I was doing before, at least some subset of that. But it's a good company, the world's largest provider of mobile television services, and that's a big operation up there, but it still has a very small company family feel, so that's kind of nice. So cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I worked for one company which was an international manufacturer, relatively small, but international manufacturer. I was exactly 3 managers away from the CEO, which I thought was cool.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, a couple of degrees of separation. I got to look at my org chart. I don't think there's too many people. Well, 1, 2, 3 people from me, but it's a completely different structure. But they've got facilities and installations worldwide. Over the last about 7 years, they've gone completely global, and that's kind of neat, kind of fun to watch that.
Cool. And their home office their main office was okay, or was it in a separate training facility?
No, it was the main office. It's been the office for a long time. Building's been added on to about 3 times, and they've got a satellite facility nearby that they do all the systems integration work and stuff like that. They had to get that out because it just got unsustainable, at that girth. So, but yeah, they're based in Pittsburgh, but I'll travel up there probably round about every 4 to 6 weeks just to go be in the building, and then I'll travel out to job sites in between and whatever. So right now I'm just trying to get my feet under me.
Yeah, sounds good. Get your feet wet and hit the road running, as they say. That sounds like a lot of fun, and it sounds like a good opportunity for you. All right, that was Danny. Whiskey Echo 4 Echo. Hasn't been with us in a couple of weeks, at least I don't think, but good signal out of Hendersonville. Who else north of Mount Juliet?
Break one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Paul, on the first frequency, this will be on the east side. That is 44. That's 444.750. It's a positive offset of 500. It's a DCS 503 tone RNTN. That's for the east side.
What was that again? DCS 5 what?
503, 503. And then it has to say RN-TN.
All righty. And what's the second one?
The east side, this is here in Mount Juliet. It's 442.125. It's got a 500 offset positive, and it's tone of 100.
Yeah, okay, very good. Yeah, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure I put that RN plus TN in. I'm not sure what that, that's receive and transmit. Is that what that stands for?
I think so, and I don't know that it's all that big a deal that it's on there, but you know what? I just looked at it. I've got them backwards. The first one I gave you is Mount Juliet, and the second one is up in east. That's over in Lebanon.
Okay, so the first one is west. I think you had that right the first time. Now I got it all screwed up here, but I'm good now. All right, very good. For those of you paying attention, that was the WEMA repeaters. That the one that is west is 444.75, and it's a plus offset and a DCS of 503. That's a Romeo November plus, and it's Tango November, correct, Brent?
Yeah, it's just got a dash, and I don't think you can even put. I think you have your choice of RN on the thing. So as long as you put the RN in, I think you're good.
Okay, very good. I don't think I've done that before. And the second one is east, and that's one in Lebanon, and that's 442.125 plus offset and a tone of easy 100. Anybody have any questions about that? All righty. We'll move on. Appreciate that, Brent. That was Brent, Kilo Echo 4, Romeo Victor, Quebec. If it gets screwed up, just email him. All right. Who else we got? East. What? North of Mount Juliet, please come down.
KB9RKK.
Hey, have you been participating in that WEMA net, have you?
Here and there, yeah. What I was going to say is it's just both N. That's another way that it's listed. Like if you, some radios will say both N instead of RN, you know, and TN for receive and transmit. It'll just be both N will be the selection for it.
All righty. I have to look at my radio next time I do that because I'm so infrequently these days on repeaters. I know that there's a, you can have a receive tone and a transmit tone, obviously. So I'm a little bit confused by that, but I'll take a look. All right. How you doing, Frank?
Doing good, doing good. Was busy last Saturday, so missed that net. I was at a birthday party.
Sounds good. Birthday parties, unless it's for a child, those aren't very much fun. Those are just, you're doing your job.
Yeah, they're younger than me. They only turned 40, but yeah, it was not for children. It was good, and it was in a really cool place because I'm in the cars and the house they had it. It's a very large memorabilia collection. I mean, he had so many old gas station signs and He even had a full the whole Sonic drive up window thing.
Wow. I guess we all need to make a trip over to Jay Leno's garage. It
wasn't that great, but there was. I don't think anybody has that garage, but for a normal person, it was good.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, very good, Frank. Good signal as always. You were pegging my meter here, and that's Frank, Kilo Bravo 9 Romeo Kilo Kilo up in the northwest part of the county. Really great. So same roll up J pole, huh?
Well, it's not actually a roll up, but it is the J pole. It's the heavy duty one that's in my attic. I do have one of those roll ups as well, but this is like the regular one. But soon to be gone. Hopefully, we'll have that. I'm getting a 510. I can't do the 700. It's not a money thing. I don't have a way to support it thing. But we're gonna get the next one down there is coming.
Oh, that's great. Well, I think you'll be, well, that 510 is, like I said, I don't think you can handle the 700. Okay.
Okay, I can't handle it. You're right.
Well, you can't handle the support of it anyway. But yeah, no, I think the 510, you'll be shocked at the difference, even though you have a great signal now, and I'm sure you do a pretty good receive.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to get is more receive. I mean, yes, more transmits welcome, but more receives is what I'm looking for because I get more people coming when I have conversations with them. They can hear me, but I can't really hear them. So, and it's all your fault, but I'm thank you for doing this.
Well, I'm glad to take the blame if that's what if it's termed fault. But if you remember this, if anybody remembers the story, which I'm sure I've told about 100,000 times, is that when I did that club, they made me president of the club because the only one stupid enough to take it. It was a very contentious group of knuckleheads down there in Florida, and I realized that so many hams just didn't have much of a station. And even when they had a handheld, they didn't know how to program it. They didn't know how to turn it on the VFO. They'd get a handheld and somebody else would program the frequencies into it for the repeaters. And I thought, this is nuts. I mean, we get into the hobby to learn how to use radios and get decent stations up. Even though mine wasn't the best in the world, I still moved forward, to improve it over time. And that's kind of the thing. It's a hobby. And if you went to a train show and you still had a figure eight, 6 foot length of HO train set, they'd laugh you right out of the Civic Center.
Yeah, know what you mean, but I always learn something new, and even though we're checking in, and sometimes it's repetitious. It feels that way, if you, at a cursory glance of it, but when you pay attention, you can tell, conditions change, and it's kind of neat to see. Like today on the way home, we were talking Simplex, and we noticed the signals were fading at all. Now, is it because of the rain? Is it because of temperature? I don't know yet, but it's kind of unique, and neat to see that.
Yeah, I'm going to just become well, to tell you what, we need to develop a weekly program, either on the air or we go to meet and we can be ham psychics and we'll figure it all out.
Yeah, if it was long distance, and for HF, there's a bunch of websites like that. But yeah, the psychic thing, yeah, and then we'll charge it a toll number, I guess.
I guess. Because the fact of the matter is, it's you can have 5 hams and there'll be 5 different opinions why it's better.
Right, I hear you. Yeah. Okay. Well, I was gonna just tell you, I obviously been talking about it, so I'm gonna be freezing over the weekend out there at the fairgrounds.
Well, at least it'll be inside. The majority of the radios will all be inside, so you won't be too bad. There is heat in that building, right?
I am not sure. I know that Bill was going to look into that, but I may bring my heater just in case, so that we will have heat. We do have the building. That I do know. We do definitely have the building. It's been cleared out. There is room in there for us now. What we're trying to find out is whether we're going to have water in that building or whether we got to get the fairgrounds to open up the restroom across from there.
Okay, I got it. Very good, Frank. All right, that's Frank, Kilo Bravo 9, Romeo, Kilo, and he is over there in the northwest corner of, over on the northwest side of Wilson County. Who else we got north of Lebanon Road? Anybody else north of Lebanon Road, north of Division Street? Anybody in Kentucky?
WB0NOO.
Hey, how are you doing, Mark?
Doing good. And watching the Tennessee Vanderbilt game. For those that aren't watching it, it's in the first overtime, a minute and a half, and it's tied at 81.
Wow. Wow, that's a heck of a game.
Yeah, it is. It's a good game. Got a new radio today. This is the first time I've talked on it, so I guess it works. You can hear me. And I got jealous of all you guys going off the sideband. I couldn't do it, so I ended up with something. Now I'll show up there too.
Ah, very good. We'll be happy to have you. Yeah, we'll even give you the password.
Oh, yeah, the handshake too, right?
Yeah, Exactly. So which radio did you get?
I got the ICOM IC7100. It's kind of a shack in a box.
Yeah, no, I know which one you're talking about. That's 160 through 70 centimeters, I believe.
Yep, that's it. It's I don't know how to work it yet, but I'm getting there.
That's pretty fancy with that. I think it's a touchscreen display with the little graphical analysis there.
Yep, it is. It doesn't have the fancy display that some of the newer ones do, but it also half the price of those. So they had a $100 off coupon and then a mail-in rebate and all that. So it made it actually pretty reasonable.
Wasn't that somewhere just at 1,000 or so? I mean, in that range, we give or take 100.
Yeah, a little over $1,000, and then but with all the discounts they got going on now, it's $799.
Oh, is that right? What a bargain, man!
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's kind of pretty. It's small, very small footprint. I told my wife, I said, they can replace almost everything I got sitting here on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the ICOM 7100s. I've had a couple other people on the net have that, and it's really, they tell me they really love that radio. And what's funny is we really shoot for the pretty images on the the displays and et cetera. Somehow we got along without those for many moons.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember when the light bulb was lighting a big plastic dial, and that's all you had.
Yeah, that's right. I never used one. Well, I guess I did long time ago, but I never really used one of those as a ham. But I know what you're saying is that you didn't. Maybe some of you needed a flashlight.
Yeah, you did. All right. Well, 31 seconds. Tennessee's up by 1 point. I'm going to go watch it. So have a good evening.
All right, you're going to pull people away from the net. Thanks. All right, we'll catch you later, Mario. It was Mark, Whiskey Bravo 0, November, Oscar, and he's in Hermitage with a great signal as always. But Hermitage is easy from here. Who else we got west of Mount Juliet? We're all watching a basketball game. West of Mount Juliet, west of the Mount Juliet Road.
KM4 YRF.
Hey, how are you doing? How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing pretty good for an old guy, Paul.
Well, if you're still working, you're just an old dumb guy.
That's exactly right. I do have some news from Alan. He wanted me to let everybody know that he's finally on the mend and he's feeling a little better.
Yeah, that was he had a rough go, but I've never heard of anybody having that bad a time, especially somebody as fit as him. It was surprising to me.
Yeah, I've talked to him on the phone several times, and the first few times, man, his voice was just so weak. I was really scared for him, but he sounded much better tonight.
Yeah, very good. Well, I appreciate you telling me that. I wasn't sure. I know I had talked to him a little bit. I don't know, probably 2 weeks ago, but he was still struggling with answers and trying to figure out what he was going to do or had to do to feel better. And I didn't envy him. I had some familiarity with with that kind of a problem. And due to HIPAA rules, I can't mention what it was.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to give details either. So, but he is doing better, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, very good, Michael. Anyway, you sounded great tonight too. Any plans to work the field day on Saturday, Sunday, either at home or there?
Not right now, but that could change.
All right, very good. You may get demerits if you don't work it in some way. You have to prove it to. No, I'm kidding, of course. All right, Michael, appreciate you being there. And that's Michael, Kilo Mike 4 Yankee, Romeo Foxtrot. He's in Belshire. Who else west of Mount Juliet? Please come in.
Katie 4OEN, Mary, over here in beautiful Belshire, along with Michael. And Marty, who I'm not going to be able to drag away from this basketball game, I don't think. Maybe I'll get him over here to just ID at least.
Hey, was Marty having some issues with his radio today? Because we tried to reply to him and he didn't hear it, and I presumed his volume was down.
Not that he knows of. I think the volume was down a bit.
All righty, we're going to take that Tennessee ball game relay from Marty, the KD4BQK. That is his call, right? BQK? Yes.
That's correct. KD4BQK. And as of right now, it's UT84 and Bandy 82, and it's a nail biter. It's a second or third every time. I'm not sure which.
Well, not being from Tennessee, I'd be afraid to take sides on that one.
That's right. Good to hear you, Paul, and all the rest of the guys and ladies, if there are any ladies out there in the group tonight. Hope all of you have a good evening, and we will talk with you all in the next minute.
Yeah, very good, Mary. And say hello to Marty. Tell him not to get too excited about the ball game. It sounds great, though. Close basketball games like that amongst interstate rivals is great. Very good. That was Mary, Kilo Delta 4, Oscar Echo November. Yeah, Oscar Echo November. And Marty, by a little relay in the same room, was Kilo Delta 4, Bravo, Quebec, Kilo. Good to have you both in there. Anybody else west of Mount Juliet, please come on.
Whiskey 4, Alpha Whiskey Echo.
Hey, John. You doing all right under this wet, soggy weather?
Oh, yeah, doing fine, Paul.
You're not. Are you doing anything in the field day this weekend?
I won't, I've got a bunch of work to do here, but since my radio is next to my room full of workstations, I plan on, at least doing field day. It doesn't sound like an honorable way to do it, but at least get on the air during it from here.
Yeah, it doesn't. I used to like to just get on. I haven't done it recently too much, but to get on the air, just even QRP or even anyway, just to see who's out there and give some people some contacts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not a contest person, but I always make a point of turning on the radio for a few hours during contests just because it's a great way to make new contacts.
Oh yeah, very much so, and people appreciate it as well. I used to do it when I was in Florida. And that's when I did it most. I think I would work QRP just because it meant extra points to whoever could hear me.
Oh yeah. In fact, I've had a few people I didn't realize myself what I was doing. Suddenly go, oh man, you're the extra bonus point or multiplier I needed.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, that's great. What do we need to do though is you can actually get more contacts if you get one of those software-based voice changers, so you can change the voice to a female voice, and everybody will come back to you.
Yeah, that is always very noticeable. Hey, I got to tell you something that happened late last night. I turned the HF radio on 40 meters, which was totally dead at that time of night. And booming, just booming, 30 plus over S9 was Mike, the guy who's the founder of M Squared. I think he says he's about to turn 82. But his ranch out in Fresno, up in the hills, which is where he actually does the design work, and he's got 9 towers. He described the antenna he was using, and it's on a 90-foot tower. He had a 4-element monoband 40-meter Yagi that has 51-foot long elements and a 50-foot boom.
Yeah, see, I know he didn't climb the tower at that age.
No, in fact, I looked that antenna up today on their website, and it's a special order only, about $9,000 and weighs 400 pounds.
Boy, you got to have money to burn to get that antenna.
But his comment was, he was talking to a couple of guys in South Africa who I could barely hear, and he just goes, there's 2 things I've learned. He goes, I'm using an old Yaesu FT847 radio and a 1.5 kilowatt linear I built myself years ago, but it's about elevation and the best antenna you can afford.
Oh yeah, it's has something to do with the radio, but it has very little to do with the radio when you've got an antenna like that.
But a 400-pound Yagi, that's quite something. Sitting on a 90-foot tower, that antenna actually dwarfs that huge tower.
Yeah, considering a 90-foot tower and a 50-foot boom, I guess it does. It's almost. I bet you he's got that tower guide.
Yeah, he said he has, basically a test range out on his ranch, as he calls it, with 9 different towers.
So I can see what he's doing with all the money we send him.
Yeah, but I talked to him very briefly, and said, well, I've got 4 of yours. They're all in the smaller size, but man, it's somebody who still just totally loves what he does.
Well, I guess so. Well, he didn't spend $9,000 on the antenna, but they have a 40-foot. Excuse me. The largest element was how big? 40 feet? 40-something feet?
Yeah, this 40-meter Yagi. I looked up the specs on it. He said he made his particular one a little longer than the one listed in the catalog. It's the 4 elements are 51 feet in width or in length for each element, and then the boom itself is 50 feet.
Yeah, you need a car engine to rotate that thing.
It's like the things you used to see on embassies.
Man, that's big. I've never seen one. The only time I saw one that big was that guy in Japan with like a 160 beam. Or wasn't that a picture of that?
Yeah, and I think I saw that, but I also remember seeing a YouTube video once of a guy in Russia who had built a 3-element 80-meter Yagi.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those, but the one I saw was a 2-element, which is standard, and that was the Moxon. Somebody had wired up a Moxon to trees in a field, and it was in Eastern Europe somewhere, Czechoslovakia or somewhere. It worked.
Yeah, I guess if we had enough room, we just and several telephone poles, just do a good old classic rhombic.
Yeah, exactly. But if you had an antenna like that, and you could pretty much do anything you wanted, it kind of takes some of the fun out of it.
Yeah, what was interesting is I've noticed occasionally I'll tune in late at night and listen to him. He generally sort of anchors a very, very informal, not really a net, but just sort of a round table of whoever shows up. And I think the reason he's become the hub of the round table, because he had, a couple of guys in South Africa, somebody in Europe, all on. With his elevation and that Yagi, he can pull them all out and they can all hear him.
Yeah, he can probably talk to himself long path.
He's just the best.
All right. That sounds interesting, John. You ought to put something up on the web. Next time you talk to him, tell him to put up a video. I'd love to see some of that. All right, that was John, Whiskey 4 Alpha, Whiskey Echo with some airside exploits with I can't believe it, 51-foot elements on a 50-foot beam for a 40-meter beam. That's out in California, though. All righty, very good. Who else we got west of Mount Juliet? Anybody else west? Please come now. All right, how about south of Mount Juliet, south of 40? Please come now.
Kilo Echo 4, Sierra, Yankee, Victor.
Hey, Larry, you sound pretty good tonight. You doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I was hoping somebody'd holler at you. I didn't hear nobody from the south.
No, not yet. No. Well, maybe they just need waking up. They'll come on now that you're here. You're the person everybody's down
Well, we'll see if we can wake them up for you.
All right, Larry. Of course, that's Larry. Great signal as always out of Rockville. Kilo Echo 4 Sierra Yankee Victor. Anybody else south of 40?
Before yet.
Hey, see, there you go. There's the anchor, one of the anchormen from south of 40. How you doing there, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm doing fairly well. Just glad we're getting this rain today. We really needed it.
Yeah, we really needed it. What are you, a farmer?
Yeah, we need some more rain. It's liable to turn into snow, though. Maybe not, but I think it's like 6 weeks to spring.
Yeah, I know, but see, I went out this evening at 7. I got back here at 7:30, and it was still raining. The roads are still wet, and I'm thinking, isn't the temperature supposed to drop before freezing? So that means the roads could be very slick in the middle of the night.
Yeah, oh yeah. when they start making plans to build another ark?
I don't know. I'm going to break out my ice skates and I don't have any anymore, but snowshoes if it freezes tonight. It's supposed to get down to what, 24?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. These are the nights I thank God for gas heat.
Oh yeah. And some people don't realize how lucky we have it made.
Oh yeah, my mother was telling me just yesterday or today. We were talking about that, and her mother, of course, my grandmother, she was born in a log. She didn't call it a cabin; she called it a log house. And they didn't have any refrigeration, didn't have any electricity, didn't have any um, anything. They had a latrine, they had an outhouse, they had a well, but of course that was a pumped well that was outside the house. So it's when we look at that, and that's a mere. She was born in 1903. So here she grew up from 1903, got married in 1924 or so, 23, and so that entire time, no electricity, no plumbing, no refrigeration. In fact, my mother said when she stayed at their house, the grandmother's house, they kept the milk down in like a root cellar, and it was never really cold. It was whatever ground temperature was beneath the house, and so it would have been maybe 70, 72, 75 degree milk, and it wasn't cold.
It's probably more like 60, but well, I guess they kept it pretty cool. I don't know how long it would keep at that temperature.
But when you get a cow, it doesn't matter.
Oh, they were more content cows back then.
Yeah, no, they had cows that they milked, but no, they didn't have to keep it too long. But it would only keep a day or two at that 60 something, 65 degree temperature.
Yeah, but the cows were probably happier back then.
Well, I imagine so. They weren't on industrial farms like they are now. Then they were pets and they were milk producers. So, all right, very good, Eddie. Enough with the weekly farm report here from Mount Juliet. Eddie, it's good to hear you in there. Glad you're doing all right. Keep dry tonight. That's Whiskey 4 Echo Bravo X-ray, and it's Eddie. He's over there just south of 40 and east of Mount Juliet Road, about 5 miles. Anybody else south of 40? Anybody else south of 40? Please come in. Yeah, nothing. We'll go east of Mount Juliet Road. Please come in.
WA4ZHI.
Hey, James. I knew you'd be jumping right in there. How you doing tonight?
Kind of stay out of the cold.
Yeah, it's down to 39. I just noticed. I just looked up. I hadn't noticed because when I was out, earlier this evening, it was about 50, and now it's down to 39. So I suspect it's going to be freezing here in another couple hours.
Well, you're colder than I am. I'm only 45 here.
Oh, really? Huh. I wouldn't think so. We're not, I mean, not that far apart, but this is one of those electronic outside thermistors that works pretty close, as far as I know. I wouldn't guarantee it, but I'm sure it's within a degree or so of what is real. But anyway, yeah, I'm not looking forward to the real cold weather in the morning.
No, I'm waiting for spring. I like spring and fall myself.
Yeah, I like spring and fall too. It's the summers and the really bad heat that bothers me these days.
Yeah, I hate the really bad heat and the really bad cold.
Oh, I'll put up with the cold. You've heard me before. Number one, I'm an half Eastern European, more or less, Germany and East, all the way into Russia. And the other half of me is over toward England, Ireland. And so I think that I'm built for cold weather. And of course, I grew up in a cold climate, well, reasonably cold climate. So it doesn't bother me a whole lot, although it can get very uncomfortable staying outside when it's like below 20 for any length of time.
Yeah, the worst 3 years of my life is when I lived in Chicago.
Oh, that's right. You were going to school up there, weren't you?
Yeah, but I was a young guy. That was 1965 to 68. I was 18 to about 20, 21.
Oh, yeah. That was cool, though. I mean, yeah, that's a good experience going to Chicago as a young man.
Oh, yeah, we take Pepsi and set them in the window to cool them.
I went up to Minneapolis one time. This is way back in 83, I think it was. And it was so cold there and it was so dry The first day I was there, my nose and my lips started to crack and bleed. So we had to set. Me and my roommate took. We stayed in hotels, but we were there for 2 weeks, and we filled up those ice containers to get in a hotel room with water, and we set it on top of the room heater, and then we took a towel, a hand towel, and dipped it in the water, made a wick out of it, and then hung it over the heating outlet, in the room heater, so that it would humidify the room, so it wouldn't be so darned uncomfortable.
I love the sound.
But I'm telling you, in Minneapolis, that area of the country gets so dry in the winter, it'll kill you.
I used to look at the weather reports out there. I saw it was anywhere from +5 to -5 most of the time.
Yeah, I was looking at Manitowoc either this morning or yesterday morning, and it was -2. So anyway, James, good to have you in there. Glad you're doing all right. That's Whiskey Alpha 4 Zulu Hotel India. Anybody else east of Mount Juliet?
KN4LXH. 4 Sierra India.
I think we might have had a triple, but I heard Jimmy in there. How you doing, Jimmy?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Trying to stay warm.
Did you get your rotor all fixed up?
Well, I got it back, and he said the only problem was I had a bad connector on it, so that's been fixed. And I ordered 125 feet of rotor cable, which was more expensive than I thought. But at any rate, got that going now.
Which controller did you get with that? Is that the one that came with it?
Yeah, it's the one that came with it. It's a CD45 for a ham 4 rotor.
Okay, I only ask as a point of interest because I got the Yaesu. It's a G450A rotor controller. Nice, it's very nice. Nothing wrong with it. But I got the cable they recommended, which is I think it's number 16, but I could be wrong. And I tell you what, it was like WrestleMania getting those into the crimp cables in those those Teflon. I think they're Teflon. The Teflon female. Well, it's actually the male connector that goes into the back of the thing. It drove me crazy getting that in there without ruining them.
Oh yeah. Well, the connector I ordered was from Mouser Electronics, and it's a good connector. It's just that the soldering skills left something to be desired.
Well, no, I had to solder mine on as well. That's what I'm saying. Is it had to be soldered on and then introduced into the connector and snap in properly, and and on the cable end, from the rotor. What a pain in the butt that was. They should never have let me use the larger cable. I should have went with whatever the next size, smaller was. I have number 18 or 20 because it would have been fine. I'm only going 100 feet.
Yeah, I see what you mean. The cable that I had on it was a solid wire cable, and it just no flex to it at all. And he said, if you actually had to use it, that you probably would have been broken after a while. So he put on a nice stranded 8-wire cable, and it's got a good outer covering, so it'll last a long time, I think.
Well, that's great. So I'm glad it was something simple, and hopefully you get your money's worth there.
Yep. So I'm continuing to weld gussets on my tower frame, so that's going.
Is weld the correct term?
Yes, sir. I was looking at the wells on the thing, and the wells that I first started with, those look, wow, I couldn't believe how bad those are. And then I looked at the wells I just did today, and I was thinking, man, these are pretty good. I must be learning something.
Yeah, that's one of those skills that takes practice. I haven't done it in many years, but I never got good at it. And I think I told you my father he welded professionally for an aerospace company putting together the rocket engines, which were made of stainless steel. And when I saw his welds, you go, wow, now that's a professional.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I found out one thing on welding. You can't sit back from about 3 feet or wherever the end of your arm is and weld. You got to get up close and personal with it so you can see the puddle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't make me laugh because it's for new people who weld, it's almost hilarious to watch, including me when I was doing it. It's hilarious to watch because it's so frustrating. It's funny to watch how frustrated you can get welding for the first few times.
Yeah, that's true. So haven't been able to do any digging because it's been so darn wet. I mean, the ground is like saturated.
Oh, yeah, it makes it heavy too. Well, very good. That was Jimmy, Kilo November 4 Lima X-Ray Hotel. Great signal from kind of north Mount Juliet, up there just north of the high school near Lebanon Road. And Jimmy, yeah, keep us posted on how you're doing. I'd love to send pictures if you can, or put them up on the video or pictures on the web of what you got going there. We don't need any close-ups of the welds, though. It's not important.
Okay, we'll try.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, yeah, you were pegging my meter here. And again, Kilo November 4 Lima X-Ray Hotel, Jimmy up in just north of the high school. Who else east of Mount Juliet? Oh, I had Richard.
4 Sierra India Bravo.
Hey, it's Richard.
What's happening down there?
I was hoping you could tell me.
Well, as of today, 84 BQK.
Hold on, Marty.
I call an old goat.
Say it again. We had a double in there. Say it again, Richard.
I said today I reached a month. 84 BQK. Opinion of becoming what I call an old goat.
Okay. I'm getting the feeling that you turned a big 6'5".
You would feel it right. I turned 65 today.
For fear of quoting something that's relatively old, but I'm sure you remember, it was in that. It seems to me it came from the '60s, and that saying that just remember today is the first day of the rest of your life.
I hadn't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, hold on there, Marty.
I remember it well. But it was been a good day, and my wife promises me to take me to dinner Saturday night to some place of my choice, and looking forward to that. So getting old ain't all as cracked up to be, but it ain't all as bad as it could be, I guess. Y'all take care, and I appreciate what you do. Turn it back over to you, KI4SIB.
Yeah, very good, Richard. Glad you're healthy when you're turning 65, so to speak. I mean, everybody has some kind of issues. Usually, well, I say everybody. I think they all have some kind of little issues that go on, like the constant muscle spasm I get in my back. Other than that, and there's some others, but I'm not bringing them up. I don't want to complain. All right, Richard, good. You have something, Marty? Who won the basketball game?
Tennessee.
So was that good for you or bad for you?
Good for me.
All right, trying to make sure. I mean, you live closer to Vanderbilt than you do Tennessee University.
And my father graduated from University of Tennessee, and he took me to all the football games and basketball games, and then my wife and we went to all those games too, and also football and basketball.
Yeah, that made for great fun when you were a kid, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. He gave me a orange and white sweater, and I was 7 years old.
Oh yeah. Well, see, that means you've never known not to be a fan of Tennessee.
That's correct.
All right, Marty, let me move on to finish the net. Appreciate you checking in and give us an update on the Tennessee winning that basketball game. I'm glad they're doing well. Hate to see anybody lose, but somebody's got to lose, and it might as well be Vanderbilt. All right, who else we got? Who else do we have east of Mount Juliet? Please come down.
Okay. I like people from Vanderbilt too.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. They're all good people. It's just that somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. All righty. Anybody else east of Mount Juliet? Anybody else east of Mount Juliet? Do we have any late check-ins?
November 8, Papa Yankee.
Well, there you are, Rusty. How you doing tonight? Wet. I now hope dry. I hope you're dry tonight.
Oh, I'm dry. Not so sure about the yard, but yeah, you switched off of the south too quick on me there, so I thought I'd wait for the late one since.
Oh yeah, very good. I was telling somebody earlier today, we had a really, I got to pull out that video somewhere. I took a video of the rains we had in Florida one year in Central Florida. It's like a front moved over Central Florida, and it rained off and on for about a week, and it was soggy. And I mean to tell you, it got to the point where I couldn't mow the lawn because it was just I couldn't take a mower out there. Well, when I did, I had to set the blades so high because otherwise it looked like a horizontal motorboat.
Yeah, I tell you what, you can get those down there. And I was headed to Smyrna today to court a little before 1 o'clock, and we had what we call here in Tennessee a frog strangler going on right before I got to the Almaville Road exit. It reminded me of those rains in Florida where if it was snow, it'd be a whiteout.
Oh yeah, I was reminded today about that. I was reminding myself today that if there was this much rain today, I don't know how much rain it was, but I think the formula is 1 inch of water equals about a foot of snow. Well, if that's true, we would have had about 4 or 5 feet of snow so far this winter.
Yes, another good reason to live in the South. Huh?
Well, listen, I've been here for the vast majority of my life. Let's see, I'm 69 and I've been here for like 44 years. Of course, I don't count Florida the South. It's kind of the South, but it's not really the South.
That's right. Well, I just wanted to check in and tell you hello and hope you have a great evening. Everybody else on the net too, and we'll talk to you later. And APPY.
Yeah, very good. Good to have you in there, Rusty. And of course, that's Rusty from Murfreesboro, or the borough, as they say in the vernacular. It's November 8th. Papa Yankee. Great signal. Anybody else? Late check-ins, please come in. All righty, and we're going to go for if you don't check in, you're going to fall into the lurkers, sandbaggers, who am I missing? Lurker, lollygaggers, scanner listeners, and the dongler, the SDR donglers. Got nothing. Well, very good. Well, that's all we got tonight, which is we're already 1 hour into it. We matched, I think, last nets, which was about 17, which is a little lower than the average, but that's why we have averages. It all averages out after a while, and we're normally in the 20s somewhere. But again, we're not really interested in numbers as much as we are people enjoying the net, enjoying improving their stations. And I don't know how much you enjoy listening to me, but at least being able to hear those other stations if you keep track. And another, like I heard, Frank saying he was improving his antenna, and I also heard somebody else saying that too. I don't remember who it was now, but several people, and they've been doing it, and it really is gratifying to see so many people interested in communicating properly on Simplex, and it's an asset to not just the hobby, but the service. And that's the service to family, community, and to the greater community, the county. You can be asset to, in our case, in Wilson County, it's WEMA, and in the way that we could help to anybody else in larger emergency issues. Doesn't matter whether it's Davidson or Rutherford or Sumner. So I don't think any of us is going to withhold information. Nope, not working for Sumner today. No, I think everybody'd be happy to help out if they had to. All right, well, very good. We had 17 check-ins, and it was a good night. Appreciate it. Don't forget, we got the VE testing Sunday the 27th at 1:30 p.m. at Lambrey Hall, room 122 at Cumberland University. And at 6 p.m. on February the 2nd is a Wilson County Amateur Radio Club meeting in the same room. Of course, that's room 122, Lambrey Hall at Cumberland University. And they'll be having an introduction to CW class following that meeting, which will probably be about 7 or 7:15, somewhere in that range. So if you have a key, or you have the key that's connected to a noise, to it, I actually can hear the strokes on it. I forget what you call it. Forgot the name of it. Help me out, Tom, if you're still there. He's not still there. You guys know what I mean. The kind of key that actually makes noise when you press down on it if it's not connected to a radio. A buzzer. That's what it is. It's a buzzer. It's a code buzzer. All right. You guys have a great night. Does anybody have any questions, follow-up, corrections? You can point fingers and laugh. Please come on.
W9BOQ.
Hey, Dennis, what's up?
Hang on. Let me check in KE4TW.
Hey, there you go. You pulled it right up there. KE4TWI West. And you're at the house, are you?
Yes, I'm going to code oscillator.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the term. Because oscillator doesn't seem to fit properly. It's really, you just hook it up to a buzzer. It really wouldn't matter what it was.
Yeah, you could. All right.
Yeah, very good. Appreciate you being there, Wes. And that was Wes, Kilo Echo 4 Tango Whiskey India over there near Watertown. Dennis, what'd you have?
Well, hang on.
Sounded like you were pulling a piece of steel cable through a hole in sheet metal.
Well, I had to turn up my radio, my other radio. So I'm talking to you on Simplex 146.415, and I was monitoring M-tiers, and somehow I'm crossing over to 70 centimeters, and they're hearing it on the whole M-tiers network. That noise you were hearing.
Well, where was the noise coming from?
I haven't figured it out yet. I just shut this radio off and it quit.
Now, they were hearing just a noise, you said? Is that what you said? Let me finish. Let me shut down the YouTube here. YouTube, everybody, I'm closing down the net. Taking other comments later and email me or whatever. But anyway, you guys have a great night. K4PEW. Make sure to look it up on Brain Trusts, BrainTrusts, Brain Trust on YouTube, and you'll see this all over again. You can see my great T-shirt. There you go. It's a Frankenstein T-shirt. All right, you guys have a night. I'm closing down.